You see what I'm saying? It wasn't just me, it wasn't just your next door neighbor. Everybody and their mom was wrong about this, and it's okay to admit it. We got to talk about good old Georgia and Kirby Smart. As you can see on your screen right here, Georgia is the new #1 team in the country with 53, yes, that's right, you heard me correctly, 53 first place votes. They have officially overtaken the kings of college football, Alabama, and it's not even close. I, for one, find this very, and I mean very interesting though. Why is that? Because 5, 6, 7, 8 months ago, nobody was saying Georgia, and nobody thought Georgia would be the best team in the country the following season, which is the one right now. What was every ESPN announcer saying? What was every college football expert saying? And what was I saying myself? Oh, they're losing 5 guys to the NFL in the first round on defense. Their quarterback Stetson Bennett, he's not that good. They're going to fall off. And when I say fall off, let me clarify on that statement. I don't mean they're going to fall out of the top 25 or they're going to lose 4 or 5 games. But what I'm saying is, everybody thought they weren't going to be as good as last season. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. I know what you're sitting there saying. Yo, Matt, well, I thought that, and guess what? You're probably a Georgia fan. The only people that actually thought Georgia had a chance of being as good as last year were Georgia fans, and you're supposed to believe that. That's your team. I don't care what any of you try to say in the comment section. You didn't believe Georgia was going to be this good already. And you want to know why you didn't believe it? And even I didn't believe it, because it doesn't make sense. Everybody was wrong about Georgia, and we're going to talk all about it in today's video. No intro, none of that. It's simple. There's a ton of you watching right now, and you're just simply not subscribed. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing. It helps out the channel so much you don't even understand. I don't show you guys BS sponsorships on this channel, none of that. The only thing I'll ever ask of you is subscribe. It's free. All right, Matt, blah, 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 shut up. Let's get into it. Before we get into the Georgia stuff, I do want to bring this up because it is worth mentioning. Kansas, yes, the Kansas football team currently is sitting at 2-0 for the first time since 2011. Granted, the season just started, but they already got a big win over West Virginia, and I think we can all agree West Virginia, they're a solid team. Don't look now, and maybe I'm jinxing this, but maybe that Kansas football program is starting to get back to being average, like going 6-6, 5-7, or 7-5. And possibly with that new head coach, they could do better than that. I thought that was interesting. That's something to keep your eyes on as the season goes on. Anyways, getting back on topic with the main topic of today's video, let's start off this video with a fun fact. Georgia right now hasn't allowed a single touchdown, and I get it, it's only been 2 weeks, but that's impressive. Why was everybody wrong about Georgia though, including myself? Well, let's look at the cold hard facts. Number one, the most obvious one, like we already stated, you lost pretty much that entire defense outside of a couple of good players here and there. A lot of people are going to try to bring up the argument, well, oh, they just replaced those guys with 5-star recruits, and it's not as simple as that. You got to get these recruits reps. Very rarely is a 5-star recruit going to come straight out of high school and dominate the college level. Normally, and I would say 9 times out of 10, they got to get at minimum 7 or 8 games under their belt. We all knew the defense was going to be good. Kirby Smart, their head coach, he's defensive minded, but we didn't know they was already going to be this good. And that's what is some bad news for the rest of college football, because they're only going to get better. It's only week 2, or my bad, we're going into week 3. I'm not going to sit up here and brag and hype on the defense. We know they're solid. It's the flip side of the ball that has done a complete 180, and it's changed everything. I'm not too sure if Stetson Bennett can possibly play a better game than he played against Oregon, but here's what I do know. If he can play just close to or near as good as he did in that game, they may not lose this entire season. If Stetson DoorDash Bennett is playing and distributing the ball the way they want him to, it's going to be hard to beat that team right now. You got to keep in mind, they don't ask Bennett to do too much. All he's got to do is make a couple of deep ball passes, about 4 or 5 a game, and the rest of the passes, they're going to be 10-yard slants and dump-offs to the running backs. They don't ask Bennett to do too much. They just want him to be great in these simple aspects of the game. Just be great at making the 5-yard slant pass. Just be great at making the dump-off to the running back and occasionally hit a deep ball. He did it last year in the championship game against Alabama, and he's done it this year in the first 2 games. What else, though? What else was everybody wrong about Georgia on? This was supposed to be not a letdown season, but a gap year, a quote-unquote rebuilding year for Georgia. Georgia fans weren't going to be too mad if they didn't win the championship this year. They're coming off of an amazing team, and it's hard to go back to back. To go along with that, what was everybody saying? Who was the best team in the SEC, or who was supposed to be the best team in the SEC this season? Alabama. Alabama, the kings of college football, was supposed to take back their throne that Georgia stole from them in the championship. And well, what do you know? Look how the tables turn. Heading into the season, Alabama was ranked number 1. It was pretty much close to being unanimous, and only 2 weeks after that, Georgia has taken that spot back, and now Georgia is almost unanimous number 1? I really want you to think about this. What is everybody saying right now at this current moment in time? Georgia is the best team in the SEC, and Georgia is the best team in the country. That's cold hard facts, but it's really ironic because for the past 7 or 8 months, what has everybody said? Oh, well, Alabama's going to be the best team in the country next year and the best team in the SEC, and they're going to take that throne back. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't just me. It wasn't just your next door neighbor. Everybody and their mom was wrong about this, and it's okay to admit it. Alabama, Bryce Young, and Nick Saban, they're looking rough around the edges, and Georgia, they're not. They're hitting on all cylinders. That's what I'm saying, though. We all thought it was going to be vice versa. We thought Alabama, with all those guys coming back, all the young guys coming back, they was going to be hitting on all cylinders, and Georgia was going to be rough around the edges. Granted, once again, it's only been 2 weeks. I understand that, but right now, it's been the opposite. Georgia is the top dog right now, and Alabama is slightly behind them. It was supposed to be the other way. I want us to take a look at this, though. In the SEC East, you got Georgia and everybody else. It's not even close. Georgia is number 1, and the gap between them and 2 through 4, which is Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida, you can't even compare it. However, with that being said, I will say this. I think the SEC East, it's looking better than it has been the past 5 or 6 years. Tennessee's looking like a scary and sneaky team. Florida, if Anthony Richardson is on, I think they got a chance of beating anybody. In Kentucky, they're looking really good as well. Whatever order you want to put these 3 teams in, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida, 2 through 4, doesn't matter. But what does matter is they got a shot of beating Georgia. I don't even know how long it's been. When's the last time we said those 3 teams got an actual shot of beating Georgia? I don't even know. I'm not saying they're going to beat Georgia, but I think all 3 of those matchups are going to be way more competitive this year than they have been in the recent years. I know that Kentucky and Tennessee game, I would bet on it. It's going to be under 20 points. That Florida game, though, if Anthony Richardson is off like he was last week against Kentucky, it could get really, and I mean really ugly. The way Mr. Anthony Richardson played against Kentucky, that was single-handedly the worst performance I've ever seen out of a quarterback in my life. I couldn't believe what I was watching. He was bad, and I mean really, really, really bad, but that is some good news for Florida because your quarterback played the worst game I've ever seen, and you kept it competitive. We've seen what Florida can do if their quarterback is on. They upset number 7 Utah. We'll have to see what happens. Georgia has a bunch of cupcakes coming up this week. South Carolina, they're going to cruise through them. Kent State, Missouri, and Auburn. And then Vanderbilt. That's a 3-game stretch of the worst teams in the SEC. After the Vanderbilt game, though, starts getting interesting. You got Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Kentucky. We were all wrong about Georgia. Last but not least, before we end off this video, I have a question for you guys. Do you think this game they play Saturday at 11 a.m. at South Carolina, it could be a trap game? On paper, at least, this is one of those games where nobody's talking about it. South Carolina, yeah, they're not a great team, but they're not a bad team. You could see some craziness, that's all I'm saying. South Carolina has the decent new quarterback Spencer Rattler. Even though he's looked terrible this year, his offensive line hasn't helped him out, and he can play great at times. I'm not saying the upset's going to happen, but the game does intrigue me itself, and I hope it's close just so we have something to entertain us. I am very curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But Road to 1 million! Ha 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 ha! You know why I'm here. If you don't know why I'm here, let me explain it to you. Your boy Matt has bills coming up, and I need this video to get to 8 minutes so I can pay my bills. All right, there we go.